We'll finish this conversation off with ChatGPT. Russell, you are a professor. I'm sure you grade papers and have to deal with writing.
I do grade papers, and there's this thing called plagiarism check, where when people turn papers into me electronically, it automatically looks at it compared to papers that have been turned in all over the country, and I got a plagiarism score. It also looks at there are places you can go buy homework answers. Like there's this service called Chegg. So what I did was I had ChatGPT answer all of some essay questions I had a few weeks ago and uploaded them to Chegg.
Oh, you didn't.
I did.
Oh, you screwed the whole country.
So my plagiarism checker, well, it's only my homework. It's not anybody else's.
But still.
But I did that, and then I just waited to see, and nobody used it. But I really wanted to catch somebody.
Right.
My understanding is at some universities, and I don't know what our official deal is yet, but they've already said if you use it for anything like that, and turn it in as your work, you're out.
Expelled.
Now I don't know how you prove it, and I've gone through, academic. I've been on little academic committees when kids have done stupid things or whatever in the past, and I know how much is involved in just giving someone an F if they appeal and say I did not cheat, or try to appeal the decision. There's a lot that goes around that. Kicking somebody out of school, I can only imagine, how many hearings and
they're using it as a scare tactic.
Yeah.
All right. So clearly you're against ChatGPT and these AI bots. So why?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, I don't know. We're already losing our ability to have original thoughts for so many different reasons.
True.
And, every time somebody asks a question, are we going to just look at the computer and go, was Eleanor Roosevelt a lesbian, and get an answer? I don't know where that one came from, but
let's
but you know what I'm saying? Like somebody says, what was the score or whatever the other night? And you should remember the score of the game you were at the other night, and you go, hey, Alexa, what was the score of the Sox game last night? It's going to start to reach that point where, we're not using our brain anymore.
Well, I think we're pretty much already there. I think
we're getting there.
Critical thinking is lost on people. Like, this is something I'd love to talk. Like, I'm actually going to talk about in a few weeks with a guest of mine. He does like political TikToks, and he's incredible at it because he thinks very level-headed. People cannot think that two things can be true at the same time. It's very hard for people to think that's either one or the other, and they get into camps and teams. And I don't think AI is going to help that, but when it comes to college and teaching, and because at the end of the day, AI is a tool, right? Yeah. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's the people who use it could bring the end of the world. But colleges as an institution, what is the point of college?
I think at least with what I teach, there are things I taught today that will be used by the same students in 6 months in their jobs.
Right.
So I am teaching them, I really believe that I'm teaching a vocation.
Excellent.
I know it's, business. I guess business school is a vocational type of school, right. But that's, how I think about that one. If you start to deviate into some other majors, that's where you start to have some issues.
Okay. So let's keep to your major. So the point of a business major, your class, the point of your job as a professor is to prepare your kids for the job they're going to get out of school.
The tools and how they're going to use those tools in the job that they're going to get when they get out of school.
Right. So
think about it being like an apprenticeship.
Right. So that's my point. Whether you like it or not, and I'm going to pick on you because you're right in front of me, but this goes for any professor, any university out there. ChatGPT and AI is going to be one of those tools.
Oh, yeah. No, and you know what my version of that tool was? was
the encyclopedia.
Yeah, the world books on the
books.
shelf. And if it was what color were dinosaurs, I'd go look up dinosaurs and read that, and then and then write something that went through my brain based on what I remember there was one kid that turned in a report, and he plagiarized it so bad. The last paragraph was, see also green plants, brown plants. He actually did all the references at the end of his he didn't think for himself at all, is the point. If I've got a question about what are the uses of duration, I don't have a problem with somebody putting in a ChatGPT what are the uses of duration, reading about it, and then turning around and answering the question. I really don't. So being able to list those off, ChatGPT being able to tell you what they are, that's great, but you're going to need to be able to apply that information when you reach it, when you're out in the work world. And ChatGPT is not going to really be able to do that for you.
Well, that's going to come on an individual basis, right? You can bring the horse to water, right? You can't teach it to drink, yada yada yada. But if these jobs are going to be using ChatGPT, like say there's a job description, right? So you can use ChatGPT to use this, and they go, hey, I couldn't do that in school, I would have gotten expelled. They can't do that job anymore. And you as an educator is to get them prepared and use the tools for those jobs. Especially if the jobs they're going into are going to be using the tool. So how do you balance that?
Well, I'm kind of give it to you. When I first took finance, we had to use these funny tables that would give us a factor to solve for a number. Now I put a command in Excel and I get the answer. Right. Now, when I do my homework, which was by hand when I was taking finance in college, I had to write out everything that I was doing. If I had done everything in a spreadsheet and turned it in, they would have said I was cheating.
Yeah.
You see what I'm kind of going with that?
Yeah, but I think they would be wrong there too.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're teaching it the way they're supposed to teach it. Needless to say, I really try to avoid that one. But that's kind of my point. That's kind of the thing with ChatGPT. If you need it to look something up when you're doing your job, and you're able to interpret what you look up for your job, that's great. The ability to do that, hopefully you acquired it while you're in school.
Because I don't think ChatGPT is going to replace anyone's job. It's going to create a new job where people are required to use it to benefit the job that already exists. ChatGPT is not going to, on its own, do a job by itself. Someone has to use that job.
Like if you're a fact checker at, a magazine, and I assume they still have those. Well,
depends on the magazine.
Okay. So at a higher end magazine, you have fact checkers. They quite possibly are using things like ChatGPT already. They probably were using Google. Before that. So they're going to use the latest tools at hand. It's probably going to make their jobs easier. You might be able to go from 4 to 3. Michael J. Fox gets the boot.
Yep.
So
I think there's ways that you can teach it and use it at a university that doesn't get rid of cheating to get that grade to get that grade to just be an arbitrary thing of saying, hey, I learned something.
Well, there is a class that's being taught by an outgoing professor. He created it for one semester. He is actually teaching AI in business, and they are doing a lot with ChatGPT.
Yeah, because I do use it. I play around with it. My social posts, my YouTube descriptions. Let me tell you, Russell, I started this podcast in January of 2020. By December 2022, excuse me. By January 2022, December 2022, easy for me to say, it's been a long podcast. My views were just over 50,000 from me writing my own descriptions, with this, that, and the other. Since then, I am at 175,000. What's the difference? I started using ChatGPT in February.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Now,
That's
I don't just copy and paste.
Yeah.
I use it to listen, I need keywords. I need hashtags. What's trending on? It can do all those things. I don't have the time. I just can't do. Right, but ChatGPT is never going to do that by itself. I have to learn and teach myself how to use the tool. Now, does that mean does that take away from the integrity of my podcast? Well,
No.
you can be the judge. Some people can say, yeah, I prefer your own voice. It's like, well, my view of it is listen, this is a way to get into the algorithm. This is a way for me to get seen. This is an invitation into the party. If my podcast sucks, guess what? I'm going to get kicked out of the party.
Yeah.
But I'm still in the party. Now, if a college
it gives you a shot.
Yeah, it gives you a shot. But if a college is going to be like this, like, hey, listen, man, this is cheating. You can never use it ever, when the rest of the world is still using it, that to me is just another reason not to go to college.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, the actual application is the part that we do more and more of. I mean, when you start out your first semester in the Kelley School of Business, you do something called I-Core,
okay,
which combines all the disciplines into one giant case study. So you pick up experience in I-Core, and I think when they interview for internships and then interview for jobs, they'll talk about what they did within I-Core as well. I haven't been included in it yet, so I don't know everything about how it works, but I know what the outcome is because I see that every year. And it's a full semester working in a group on something that is applicable to the real world.